Hello campers, find ourselves here in beautiful Hampton, Virginia, right here on the Atlantic Ocean and Hampton Roads, and I'm going down the street and I just about wrecked the daggum car when I come across this flag on this home, and you already know that's the Haudenosaunee, or as the white men call us, Iroquois, right down here in Hampton Roads. And I happen to run into probably the most phenomenal, educated Iroquois that I've ever run into. I'd love to meet him, introduce him to you. Well, like I was saying, we find ourselves here in Hampton Roads in what they call Tidewater, Virginia. And I have run into, luckily enough, probably the most well-educated Iroquois I've ever run into. And you talk about knowledge. Now, I'm from the Mohawk tribe up on Quebec, upstate New York border. But this is an Iroquois from down in Virginia. And I had often heard rumors that there were Iroquois down here, but never really got to run into one. I think we crossed paths ages ago, but never got to meet each other. I'd like to introduce you to Two Hawks.
I'm called in my language Two Hawks, from the Gawasaka people known as the Maharan Nation, people of the water, Snipe Clan.
Now the clan is going to be the family. I'm of the Turtle Clan. I see it as one of my favorite shirts on of Turtle.
Rockweast.
Now, you have been in this area for thousands of years. Your family dates back.
Most definitely. We still live on pre-contact land that's not deeded to this country. So we've been here quite a while.
So right here in Virginia, and that land stretches for the people around the world.
It stretches from the James River all the way to South Carolina. So that's where you will find a lot of my people.
Okay. And in the years that you've been here on Mother Earth, what lessons has she taught you?
I probably have a very long list of lessons. One of the greatest lessons that I've learned is to be quiet and listen.
Ooh. And now, with all your wisdom and your time here on Mother Earth, what advice would you have for the rest of us poor, silly creatures here on Mother Earth?
Well, I believe we're all poor, silly creatures here on Mother Earth. None of us are exempt, but we're in a very troubling time right now, and that's for all people, period. In which, of course, we've had revelation that this time would come of a rainbow nation, all nations of people. It's not new to us, but I guess prophecy is being fulfilled now. So I think we really must learn to be kind to each other and go back to our roots and really learn who we are.
Okay, so you are, to clarify, you're of the Iroquois Nation, the Maharan tribe, the Snipe Clan. Now, in your nation, how many clans are there?
Well, we really only have about 4 clans left here that we recognize, but my maternal line is Maharan and Nottoway, and my paternal line is Maharan. So, which again, all Scottuda people of the Scottuda language, in which we would have all spoke, in which some of us still do speak, including the Nottoway from the James River, which is, by the way, close to Virginia Beach, to give you a kind of a landmark. And we stem all the way to some of the next larger counties, which is Hereford County, Bertie County, and that goes right to the border of North Carolina, which you will find the Meherrin. And from Bertie County all the way down to South Carolina, you will find the Tuscarora people, in which we are all related down here, all the way to South Carolina, Lumberton, Pembroke.
Now, being fishermen, hunters, and gatherers, were you very transient as far as your hunting grounds? Did you travel north and south? Because it's a very warm climate down here. It's not like up in the North Country, where you freeze to death in the winter and have to travel to hunt in the summer.
Well, most definitely. We traveled back and forth all the way to Canada.
Okay, that was my...
yep, the Grand River.
Yep.
You know, going to Council also. Plenty of recordings. Of course, a number of the towns of Tuscarora settled right there, Niagara. Including, along with them, were the Meherrin and the Nottoway. And so quite a few of us, but there are still plenty of us still left down here who did not go up to Niagara.
There's a question I've been dying to ask you.
Okay.
All right. And that is, how do you feel about being Native American or Indian or whatever they want to call you? Papoose, half-breed, whatever. Right. Which I've been called all of those. Some of them even, they made up some clever things. But anyway, how do you feel about being Native?
Okweongwe, in our own language. It's the core of who I am. I wouldn't have a existence without the knowledge of self and who my people were and still are. It makes me proud to still be here. I guess the Creator felt fit through all of our Holocaust and everything else that we still remain here, vigilant, struggling maybe, but still here, still trying to educate our people, still existing, still practicing language, still practicing ceremony.
Now, what is the number of people, do you think, are still left in your clan? Well, it would be clan and organization now. Your tribe?
I don't know what the exact number is because we've migrated from here because work was very scarce.
Mm-hmm.
Big timber area. A lot of our people went up north. Some went to Tennessee, Kentucky. So we've been bouncing back and forth, but we're all still in touch with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So for ceremonies and things as such, we still convene and come back and do those things which we still find important to our family, our children, and our nation.
When I first met you, that's what really blew me away, is that you're all still in contact with each other. Because I born and raised on a reservation, wasn't well liked off the reservation, and I'm probably half Mohawk and half French and English, so I wasn't exactly totally loved on the reservation either by the more purebloods. But I find out there probably isn't a lot of pureblood Mohawks because we were colonized by the French,
Sure.
So many years ago, and they integrated with the tribes. Anyway, that's what impressed me, that you're still connected to each other and you still know the knowledge is still there. Two more questions really quickly, and these are very optional. What has been the very best moment of your life?
One of the very best moments of my life is when a number of the young people within my nation desired to continue to do ceremony and speak their language. I kind of continue the language here. That's a very important role that I play here, coming from some of the only traditional people who were left who still spoke any of our language here. So that made me very proud that those young people, not coerced, volunteered to want to pick this back up, including my nieces and grandchildren. My niece is a doctor. She came back to do service with her people and learn her culture and help teach her language. So that's one of the proudest moments, and I didn't have to ask. So that was very good to see that there's going to be a next generation coming behind me.
It's very fearful that it'll all be lost if we don't pay, well, if we don't pay very close attention. It'll all be lost to just a page in history that someone in the future will turn the page and go, oh, the Holocaust with Hitler, oh, World War II, oh, Native America, and they'll pass right by to the space age or whatever. It'll just be a page that's turned in history if we don't pay attention. The last question I had for you is, what has been the worst moment of your life?
One of the worst moments of my life was our struggle that we have down here. We're still going through recognition processes with the government. And I'm one of the founding members of the reorganization of the Nottaways for state recognition in the state of Virginia, which was a 7-year process of major scrutiny of ancestry. And at the end of that, we were found to be who we said we were, and we actually received the state recognition. But the process was, most people could not imagine the type of stripes, beatings I'm referring to, that we had to endure under this type of scrutiny by people who don't even know who they are.
And we talked about that the other day too, and I'd like to continue that in the future in one of the talks. Is there a chance that you can give me a tour of your, I can't call it a man cave, but this is way more than that. Do you have a moment to give me a brief tour?
Sure.
Well, this is the ceremonial costume that you would wear, or costume's not a good word, for lack of a better word.
Correct.
And you're a storyteller, also historian.
Yeah. This is our living regalia, in which tradition, we did not put our regalia, our clothing that we made, we didn't put it away because it's living. It's not something that we wore and then we put it away in a closet or something. It's artwork. It took a lot of love and passion to put into it, including the beadwork and everything else. So some items that you see in here, I've worn for over 30-something years, and I still wear it. And when I'm not wearing it, it goes back on the wall for display, so people can remember who we are. And again, it's living.
And the part I liked when you said about being Native American or Indian is the pride that you carry with you. That is what, growing up on the reservation, that's what we had an abundance in, and the pride of who you are and where you came from. Don't let them take that away from you, was my grandmother's main message, and she was the matriarch of our clan.
My great-grandfather, in which I lived with, he lived to be 107 years old, approximately. And I never heard him speak more than 5 words of English. He only continued to speak his language, even though he could speak English, but he would tell you English is not his language. So,
now, that's another thing about you. You are still a speaker and definitely a comprehender. And makes a big difference.
Yeah. It's always a constant battle, because there's not that many speakers left in the South, in which I'm thankful to Betsy Bissell up in 5 Nations, who has started the Tuscarora Immersion School now. She found it fit to help us, and we help each other, to give me some of their materials so we could continue to teach down here. And we also always have an invite up there whenever they have any immersion classes, in which a lot of the Southern people do go right up to 5 Nations, up to the immersion school in Lewiston, New York. So
I'd love to get a chance to visit.
Definitely.
Can I offer you the camera and you can take us on a brief tour? That's my hand that you see there. Sorry, that's the palm of my hand. That wasn't anything in the tour.
Sure. And most of these items are items that I made personally myself. I've danced Eastern traditional. This is actually my wife's dress, in which I actually make all of this stuff myself. So,
and this is deer skin. At least the bottom I recognize.
Yeah.
The top is.
This is a 3-hide buckskin dress.
Okay.
Hence it takes 3 hides to make them. And the top is actually buffalo, and the bottom is buckskin.
And why I ask is I get as much response from all over the world as I do from the U.S. So they're very interested. Well, what did you make these hides or feathers or what's that from? So that's why I asked the question.
Right, right. And my flute, a shield, war club over here, and just different items that I've worn throughout the years in different style of dress. I no longer dance Eastern traditional. I mostly dance what we would call Iroquois traditional or smoke dance now. So.
And everybody's familiar with the dream catcher. A little bit of history behind the dream catcher.
Yeah.
People thinking that the dream catcher is to catch all the goodwill and stuff, but it's
just the
really
opposite.
Nice
is to allow it's actually to allow the good dreams to come through. There are different versions of it, but what makes more sense to me is that it allows the good dreams to come through and it catches the bad dreams.
Right.
Hence you see some of the stuff attached in the middle of the dream catcher.
But a lot of the tourists will recognize the dream catcher, and I've had lots of them that tell me the dream catcher, that's to catch good thoughts, and you didn't get the right story. Right. So that's why I asked you to explain it.
Right. And that's actually a copy of Crazy Horse's shield. Just some items I've used, even though it's really not our people here. It's Western
it's
people.
Still the spirit.
Oh, definitely. So.
Well, I can't thank you enough. This has been wonderful, and if you'll tolerate me, I'd love to explore some more of the history. And thank you again.
You're very welcome.
And thank you again, Ona.
No, Ona.